there's this rumour doing the rounds that Sir Jim Ratcliffe could be getting involved in Manchester United. I don't know if you have heard that.
No one said that.
No one said much. I know you've not spoke about it. You've not done any videos on it or what this new structure could look like. But if you're Sir Jim, right, or if Sir Jim rings you, which he might do, and he says, right, stay, I'm getting involved in United, I'm taking over the football side of things. Why are you looking at it like this has happened? What's my priorities? What do you think the three priorities for Sir Jim Ratcliffe should be when he comes into this club? If he comes in, which he's looking like he is going to, because every journalist says he is, right, and if he isn't, we're going to do a lot of videos. What would be your three main priorities for Manchester United?
It looks like he's on with number one,
which is
sort the front of office out.
Yep.
So those in charge of football operations.
Yep.
Is the most important thing, because the most important thing in a football club is recruitment, right? That is the hands down most important thing. As we've seen, like Sir Alex has shown you, when you haven't got the right team, you ain't winning fuck all. No. It took him a good while to get here, to turn it all around, to get it right, then get his team playing the right way. Recruitment trumps everything, right? If you've got a good team, you can do some good bits if you're a good manager, right? So you got to get the recruitment structure right. None of this, like I did a video earlier where I was looking at like that final transfer window under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and you dissect it again now and you go, Ole wanted Haaland and Caicedo.
Yeah.
And Ole got Varane, Sancho, Ronaldo. We know Sancho was a club target. I don't know if it was one that came across Ole's desk and he went, okay. Or I just don't know the circumstances. He might have been all for it. He might have been against it. It might have been 50-50. I just don't know is the answer to that. I know he knew nothing about Ronaldo coming.
Yeah.
And he was like, there you go. There's a Cristiano Ronaldo. See you next week. So I know that was something he had to deal with.
Would it be too far of a stretch to say you knew about as much about Ronaldo going, if not a bit more than he did?
Possible.
Like, I'm not being funny, and I think it kind of like got out there a little bit what was going on and who knew and who didn't. And we know you're close to, who you know.
What he said about it is like Rio, basically like Ronaldo was on his way to City.
Yeah.
And he rang Rio and was like, United won't fucking talk to me.
Yeah.
And Rio rang Woodward and went, you know he's about to sign for City, don't you? And he went, we thought they were bluffing. Leave it with me. A handful of hours later, he's a United player. So at what point is that no point in that did Woodward go, let me go wake Ollie up?
No.
They just did it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't think it's mental to suggest that Ollie was told. I know he might have got the word out before the graphic designer got it, but it would have been, here's what's happening, rather than, would you like to rubber stamp this?
Was there a touch of that with Donny van der Beek signing? Because it felt a little bit like, doesn't it?
You know, the way he just didn't play him.
Yeah, like it felt a bit like Fred for Jose sort of thing, like you've got this midfielder and he's like, really? Yeah, so, sorry, front of house, getting someone in.
Yeah, so I think the important thing obviously is recruitment. You get that right, and you get the people that have actually got football decisions, that are making football decisions for football decision reasons, rather than the tail wagging the dog the way it is now with the commercial department dictating who we sign, where we go, and every other sort of decision out there. So I think you get the front of office right, and everything else will start to fall into place, because then it'll start to be run by football priority, which is the big thing. So you get the front of office appointment right, and start acting like something that prioritises the football as part of the football club, rather than because even the commercial priority that we do makes no sense to me, because you're like, well, just look at City's revenue for last year. It's the record revenue. Why is it the record revenue? Well, I don't know if you noticed, they won a few games. Yeah. And that kind of leads on to commercial success. So why don't we try win more games and see what happens?
Kieran Maguire said that we had him on the podcast years ago. Well, whenever he's come on it, he says that. You know, commercially, if you want to be more successful commercially, win things.
Win shit, yeah.
Who do you want your brand associated with?
Winners.
You
talk about the engagement. Here's the best tweet United could ever... Like, you will never get more retweets than 21... and a photograph of the league title and Bruno, whoever's captain at the time, lifting it.
Yeah.
You want retweets? That's going to get retweeted to death. There you go.
Even more so than a new noodle sponsor to tweet.
He'll edge it.
Yeah.
But I think my money's on that.
Yeah.
But do you know what I mean? So that you want engagement.
Look at the Scousers. And it pains me to say it, but they didn't win anything for so long, or anything of note. And then when they won that title, even though they couldn't celebrate in the stadium, like commercially, everyone's involved because it's such a massive story, and it's
exactly.
unfortunately they've got a few fans.
So the first thing that he needs to do is to sort the front of office. The second thing he needs to do is to sort of connect the fans, because right now, to a lot of people's eyes, he is Glazer number 7.
Yep.
He's just sitting alongside them. Him being as part of the board enables them to stick around. Now, whether that's the truth or not, and I suspect he's got an exit strategy for them. It might even be in the contract that we haven't, there's all sorts of stuff. But I think what he has to come out and do, and unfortunately, he's got to be political. Everyone wants him to come out and go, listen, I'll get rid of these fucking rats rapid, watch.
Yeah, he can't do that.
But he's not going to do that because it'll be, part of the fact he's got to try and work with them. He's got to go into a meeting and be like, yeah, I called you a rat.
But, it's just our nickname for each other, isn't it?
So, he's got to have to play it political. And that's going to piss some people off because he's not going to be able to tell you exactly what he thinks.
No.
And a lot of people, for some reason, expect him to come out and batter them. And I guarantee you he ain't going to do that. He's going to be super political and he's going to piss so many people off by being, thank you for the custodianship of the last 18 years and this, that and the other. We hope that we can... I don't even know how he's going to say it and not piss them off.
Yeah.
Because if he just tells the truth and goes, and even if he does it in a nice way, we could have been better in the last 18 years. They're going to go, what do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean?
I think you've almost got to word it like, football now is changing, so we've got to change now.
Yeah.
With football, not it changed 20 years ago. We just didn't change with it because we were run by a bunch of idiots. Yeah. Something like that. I get your point, though. And there is going to be fume on socials, especially people going, oh, he's a Glazer stooge, why aren't he calling him out? But for the reasons you've said,
yeah, and that's
can't.
Guaranteed to happen.
But you're saying there's a victory there to be had with communicating with fans.
Talk to the fans, because them lot never have. No. The only time they ever think it was when we caught with their hand with the cookie jar when they were trying to do the European Super League.
We had to get a game postponed for that. We had to get a game postponed for them to go, all right, we'll do a Zoom call with you. That was it, literally.
Which still hasn't happened, has it?
No, they did one. I think they did one in 1 or 2 in 2 years. And I remember speaking to Ian Sterling, got arrested about it, and he was like, they just lied to us. Yeah, they did it because we got the game postponed, and they were panicking. They're like, if they do this every week, we can't function as a football club. We need to give him something. All right, we've dropped out of Super League, but everyone has, so it's not even a thing anymore. Let's say we'll have a dialogue with you. We'll have regular meetings.
So if Jim Ratcliffe wants to be seen as different, you've got to actually engage fans in a meaningful way. You can't pay lip service to it, and you can't do one Zoom call every 2 years. That's not going to work. You need to actually engage fans. And I thought Richard Arnold was a step in the right direction. I mean, the ball's on the guy. I have a lot of respect for him for doing that. He rocks up and goes, a load of dudes turn up at his house, and he goes, meeting the booze around the corner. Yeah. I'll get around it.
Yeah.
He did not have to do that.
No, I was having this conversation the other week with someone. It's the same thing, he didn't, you're right. He could have just got off or rang the old bill.
Rang the fucking old bill,
yeah. They would have got, those lads would have got nicked or carried off, and then that would have been the end of that. But he spoke to them, and, you can argue whether it was a good idea in terms of what he said or whatever, or whether they should have filmed him, but he did it.
Yeah, I respect him for doing that.
Yeah.
Whether or not he keeps his job on the back end of this, looks like not, but I definitely respect him for doing something different in that sense, because Woodward would never have done that.
Well, Woodward, I think you spoke to Woodward, didn't you? You bumped into him, Macca bumped into him over the years, and look, chat to us, come and do an interview.
He told me he would.
Yeah, and he said the same to Macca, 8 years after you spoke to him.
Yeah, I think it's genius how he fucking filled it, because he was like, he's like, who my secretary is?
Yeah.
I was like, yeah. And he went, speak to them. I'll tell him I'll do it.
Yeah.
I went, sweet. And you think, well, he said he'll do it now. I take people at the word, because I'm a man of my word.
Yeah, I know.
If I say I'm doing something, I'm doing it, right?
I feel that.
Whereas my guy,
no.
It's the ultimate, calm you down, fuck you off.
Yeah, he did the same to McCullough, same thing, when he saw him after you had, a few years later, same thing, and knew who he was. I know, full-time Devils it was, I'm going to come on. Same thing, didn't materialise.
Totally placate you.
Yeah, and then it's like...
delete that email when it lands.
Which is just pathetic. So you've got, sort your front of house out. I'm going to get to, there's a couple of questions before we wrap up. And also, communicate with the fans. What's your third and final priority?
Make Manchester United cutting edge again. Whether that's with the stadium, whether that's with the training ground, whether that's just a philosophy that we adopt.
Yeah.
People forget how important... Sir Alex gets zero credit for this. Bringing in the likes of Prozone into Premier League football.
Yeah.
The first Prozone in the Premier League was Old Trafford. You know, the first time it was used in the Champions League was Manchester United. You know, one of the reasons that we beat Juventus was by the fact that we used Prozone to see the average sort of areas that Inzaghi made his runs. And they used that data. So there's a point where the guy that... They did a deal. So this guy come and pitched it to Fergie. And I think he pitched it to Fergie. Fergie liked the look of it. Pitched it to Steve McLaren, who liked it. Who pitched it to Fergie. He liked it. And he said, go and speak to... I think it was David Gill and Martin Edwards at the time, and they'll sort it out. Martin Edwards, now this is a negotiator. Because by the way, under recent regimes at United, they asked for 250 grand for a season. United would have probably paid 450 because that's how we negotiate.
Of course.
Martin Edwards went, I'm not paying 250. I'll give you 100 if we win something. So this guy was potentially looking at doing all that work for the year for United for fuck all.
Seriously.
And then he said, the guy that had put it in, he saw Fergie after the first time he saw Fergie after the semi-final against Juventus. Fergie went, Bosh, there's 2 tickets to the final.
Oh, mate.
And you're getting paid.
Mate, that's sick. And also, what an advert for what you're doing. Like, you've literally just brought this in to the team that's won the treble.
When was the first time you heard of sleep pods in English football? It was Carrington under Sir Alex Ferguson. They one of the first instances of they were trying to get hold of good sports nutrition and like all of the stuff that Wenger got a load of credit for doing, changing the attitudes of English football. He didn't change the attitudes of English football. He changed the attitudes of Arsenal.
Yeah.
Manchester United were already doing that.
Yeah, and Arsenal was a mess when he got there, wasn't it? Like, they were like, United were in the mid-80s, in the mid-90s, with a drinking culture, with players getting nicked and fighting.
Yeah,
and
what's the pre-match meal? Full English fry-up or a fucking steak, whatever.
And he's like, well, let's
have pasta and chicken.
Yeah.
But United were already doing that years before.
So you want to see United getting back to that?
Just be cutting edge, yeah. So it's just a cutting edge philosophy, just a desire to be better. I think rather than follow, lead.
Rather than follow lead, I think that's a good place to wrap it up. Just finally, one question coming in from Twitter legend who's been a member of the Academy for 50 months. Steve, why do you want Paul Mitchell over Michael Edwards? And that is a
Wasn't Michael Edwards one of the ones that was like the Barini and fucking what's it era?
Right, well there you go. There's your.
I don't know. I've wanted Paul Mitchell for years and I'm stubborn. So
well, I think if you wanted him for years, now isn't the time to suddenly change your mind.
When he might be, when he's probably on the loading platform.
Yeah, that guy I've been banging on about for the last 5 years. Now he's about to sign for us. I don't want him anymore.
I fucking can get close to him. So let's just fucking let it happen and see what Stevie can find out.
Yeah, there you go. Inside info. Hey, brilliant. Love it.